we really don't got room for catharsis, y'all.
No, we don't. And by the way, it's wrong. It's totally wrong to target random cops who might have done absolutely nothing wrong and take your anger out at them through a violent act, like throwing a brick at their head. Like, it's unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. And look, you guys need to know like my more broad view on what's happening with the riots in LA. I look back at the way I covered the riots in the summer of 2020 and onward, and I was a coward, totally cowardly. I will admit that. I totally engaged in the mostly peaceful protests narrative, even though I knew that wasn't the case.
What?
And it was because I was terrified. I was terrified of dealing with the backlash that I now very clearly am.
Great screenshot, or great, freeze frame. Obviously, Zach and I, we were at the KC George Floyd protests. Got insanely intense, more so than any protest I've ever been to. But that was just in KC, right? It was probably times 100 in a city like New York and LA. Obviously, I can't speak to the situation on the ground at every single city, and obviously there are actions done by protesters that I wouldn't, recommend necessarily. But at least from Kansas City, I specifically remember the protest being 100% peaceful, a total celebration of love and people coming together to stand up for and remember the, life of George Floyd and the other victims of police brutality, until the cops showed up and started fucking harassing people and started fucking antagonizing people and started fucking spraying children in the face with chemical weapons. Then the crowd got a little bit pissed off, and I think a couple water bottles got thrown at these fucking dirty pigs, right? Again, a child was pepper sprayed in the fucking face for doing nothing wrong. A photo went viral of a man unarmed holding up a sign and a cop tasing or pepper spraying him right in the fucking face, point blank. That went viral on the KC subreddit. And again, we're talking about Kansas City, not LA, not New York.
That was in Kansas?
But
I remember that video.
We were at that exact rally when it happened with those dirty fuckheads. And it's exactly right what Gavin said. It's the Plaza Fountain. It's where every major protest in Kansas City happens, right? And this is a microcosm, right? We're speaking from our personal experience because it was a hella radicalizing moment for me and Gavin. But the scale of that is what we're talking about. When they say violent protesters, they're talking about kids throwing water bottles at the police and being met with all kinds of pepper spray, right? My sister was at the Minneapolis protests every single fucking day during George Floyd. And I remember hearing from her. She was out in front of all of the main shit. And my sister is not like a fucking like hardcore, like fucking, lady. She's the chief of staff for the city council president of Boston. Okay. But she was out there with all these other people because it was an issue that all Midwesterners felt deeply passionate about, the fact that it had impacted, Minneapolis so hard, a largely white city, though with a black population that's often underrepresented. It touched everybody. These are people who we would look at and kind of profile as liberal. You know what I mean? It's crazy to rewrite history and act like it was a bunch of violent mobs all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, in my own LA experience, like I was at some pretty crazy moments. Like, I think one of the days where it really popped off, we were marching down a street and the cops left a police vehicle with all the doors open in the middle of the street, right in the path of the protest. Like, just come get it, boys. Like, the cops use these protests as a way to get new cars. Like, they just are like, oh, I want to get the 2024 model. So, let's just have them break up the old ones. There was a video yesterday of like cops beating up, self-harming their own vehicles because they were so depressed, I guess. Did you guys see that one?
No, I didn't see that one.
There's a video of them all bashing in their own fucking car.
Oh, no, I saw the video of the guys on the horses that were all beating one guy senseless on the street.
Yeah, that was sad because you could see the horse still trying to not step on the guy because the horse is like more of a fucking human than the LAPD. Like, we should just turn the LAPD into horses. Like, if we deputized like every horse from the racetrack, and like it would be a much safer city. And what like Anna like probably knows or maybe doesn't know if she just goes between like, I don't know, the fucking Erewhon and the AC studio that she's shooting out of. I don't know where the fuck this is. If this is in like West LA or whatever the fuck, but LA, like the most dangerous fucking organized criminal gang in Los Angeles is the LAPD, and it's well documented. There are multiple white supremacist slash like Latino white supremacist gangs within the LAPD. They have tat parties where after they kill someone, they go and they fucking party and they get a tat, like a notch on their fucking arms. These guys are way more dangerous than the fucking Crips, the Bloods, any of the fucking Mexican gangs here. Those guys are without a doubt the biggest murderers on the fucking street, and most of them don't even live here. Like, they all live out in the fucking valley or fucking riverside or whatever. They come in like fucking cowboys and they fucking kill people.
That's exactly what happens in Kansas City. They all fucking flee to the Northland. But anyway,
yeah.
Open to accepting, because I've been dealing with it from like from the rad libs, let's just put it that way, for like the last 2-3 years. But at the time, I was too afraid to deal with the backlash. I didn't want to be smeared as some sort of racist for acknowledging that rioting was taking place. This time around, I'm not going to do that because I felt terrible that I wasn't doing my job. I let my audience down. Even if the audience doesn't want to hear it, I don't care. Like, respecting your audience means you tell them the truth. They can do with that information what they please. If they decide they hate me for...
So she didn't tell the truth? She's just admitting that sometimes she lies when she knows that, like, she's...
That's the old lying? Her, Griffin. She's trying to be
the old her.
Oh, gosh, why do you always try and slam women when they come out here and try and share their experiences, you monster?
Also, she's done this a million times, but she likes to pretend like her coverage from 5 years ago was like this just shrieking caricature of a SJW. It's not even the case. Like, she's not being charitable enough to her own coverage and that of Jake. I remember from that time period when they talked about the rally or the protests, and they did acknowledge that there was violence going on. They did acknowledge that there was some riots and lootings, and I'm pretty sure they condemned the lootings, the people that just come in to like take advantage of the destruction and rob a fucking store. Not that I give a shit about the store, but those people aren't necessarily part of the same actual protest movement. They didn't deny that. They didn't fucking deny that. What they did do is what I was just talking about, acknowledging that most of the violence that occurred at the protest was in response to violence initiated by the police. That's the reality of the situation. But if you watch TYT from that time period, they actually weren't just like, no violence to see, it's all peaceful. That's stupid.
Right. Okay. So if Anna needs to she needs to do some sort of reparations for her past lies and coverage. And I think she needs to immediately issue an apology to Kyle Rittenhouse, maybe do a hookah sesh. I don't know. Like, they should start a podcast. Or I'd love to see Kyle Rittenhouse on Her Take. I think that would be a great guest. And we need to get into the drugs in George Floyd's bloodstream. Like, we got to get into it all. Like, you can't just say, sorry, I lied. You have to do some real reparations here.
Honestly, I'm always saying that, Griffin.
Reporting accurate information. It is what it is. But I have to respect the audience enough to give them accurate information. So if riots are happening, I'm not going to provide cover for them and say, no, mostly peaceful protests. What we're seeing on the streets of LA right now, especially last night, and it's escalating, not peaceful. Okay, it's just...
Yeah, the cops are fucking shooting people, dummy. That's not peaceful. It's the cops that are fucking shooting people in broad daylight, regular ass harmless individuals. We've seen it time and time again. What instance of bricks to the heads of police have you seen?
I've seen a few, and they're like dropping bricks and on police cars. But even more impressive, I'm seeing people drop lime scooters on cop cars, which I think is an incredible showcasing of upper body strength for LA liberals. I mean, they fucking got a smoothie and they lifted a lime scooter above their head. Like, that's unbelievable.
But that's still just property damage. There's no violence there. You know what I mean? We're not seeing people actively, fighting cops in the street. The clip that went viral recently of somebody fighting cops was in like Fargo, North Dakota or some shit like that.
But also, like, okay, let's say there is like some level of like violence. It is not happening out of the evils of people's hearts or randomly in a vacuum. It's happening because violence is happening to them first. We are doing what is not violent about breaking into a first grade elementary class and pulling children out? What is not violent about like leaving children on the side of the highway and taking their pregnant mom into custody? What's not violent about fucking masked thugs that don't ID themselves black bagging people into vans? it is the most bitch-made, violent, anti-American thing I've ever seen. So if you want the violence to stop, well, let's find the fucking inciting incident.
Great point.
Abundantly clear. It's not taking hold of the entire city. Okay, rioters haven't taken control of everything. It is limited. It's nowhere close to the types of riots we saw in the summer of 2020. But I am worried about it escalating. And Waz, you made a really good point. It's unlikely to escalate to the point that the riots escalated in 2020 because people aren't jobless. I mean, it was in the middle of a pandemic when there were shutdowns and people were at home and bored. So hopefully things won't escalate to that extent this time around.
I've seen that a few times too, not just from Anna, but from other people too. Like, oh, the only reason why there was such a massive protest movement in 2020 was because of the pandemic and everyone was just bored. Oh, they're just bored. Like, I'm pretty sure it was a little bit more than that. I'm pretty sure that like that even if there hadn't been a pandemic, it still would have been one of the largest protest movements in American history. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just think it's crazy to blame it all on the fact that people were bored.
Yeah, it's like it was a mixture. It was a mixture of factors, but yeah, I mean, the government outside of the George Floyd thing, the government was failing us as well, like with the pandemic. Like, so yeah, it was like a mixture of different things the government was failing the people on.
But I don't know. I am worried, and it is spreading to other big cities.
I mean, I think people do care about this sort of immigration angle and the deportation angle. I just don't think it's as impassioned as like tying the entire history and founding of America to a 9-minute video of a black dude getting killed on camera with a knee on his neck by the police. Like, it's just not the same. Okay.
Yeah, good point.
Wait, same as what? Wait, sorry, I'm confused. Same as what?
George Floyd. He's saying like the mass deportations, the violence against the immigrant community that we're seeing now does not warrant the same level of outrage that the killing of George Floyd did.
Sir, you are banned from the taco trucks. You 86 pico de gallo for this MF, okay? I don't want to see you at the churro stand.
Yeah, and again, it's a connected struggle. I don't understand this need to separate and be like, oh, like I totally understand why people got mad about George Floyd, but this is not the same. This is not as serious. This is not worth getting that outrage about. It's like, what are you talking about? It's police brutality either way. It's fucking people with badges coming and abducting, abusing, and in many instances killing people that live in this country. Like, it's a very connected issue.
Yeah, I fucking immediately reject anybody who wants to try and compare, right? Like, oh, it doesn't meet the threshold of this suffering, so I'm not going to mobilize for it, or this, wasn't as brutal as something else that I've seen, so I'm not going to mobilize for it. I don't understand that kind of perspective, this idea that, oh, because the video that we saw of Derek Chauvin kneeling on George Floyd's neck for, 9 minutes was horrifying. It was moving to the core anybody with a conscience, and it did reckon, and recall back the entire history of America and slavery and all of that oppression. But
so does this shit.
Exactly. And so you don't need to pit them at odds with each other, as Gavin said. Anybody who tries to kind of undermine a movement by immediately pitting it against another movement that was also valid and viable and justified, I feel like is doing the devil's work, to be honest.
Yeah, there's always like a few accounts that pop up around these times. I've seen a few where it's like a black woman with like 10,000 followers following 12,000 people, and they're like, black people, let's stay out of this one. This one ain't about us or whatever. And it's like a CIA officer or something is behind the keyboard. So you see those all the time. Like it's best to just RT and move on.
Yeah, 100%. We do have, speaking of retweeting, we do have one more pretty glorious statement to look at, this time from Cenk Uygur. He says, Trump and I started this fight in LA, but imagine he's going all John Lennon on us. Imagine if instead of burning cars, our side showed up and did what the civil rights movement did. Nothing ever violent happened. Nothing was ever burned during the civil rights movement. Civil disobedience, where we match the government's violence with stubborn peacefulness. It takes courage to take a punch, but not throw one. And again, it's so stupid. Like, for one, MLK was not the only fucking civil rights activist. They act like the MLK's movement was the entire civil rights movement. No, the reason why you only fucking hear about MLK is because of the tensions that actually existed between him and other civil rights leaders, many of which did have a less pacifist approach. This isn't fucking like, what are you talking about? There was so much differing approaches, and many of which were less pacifist than other during the civil rights movement. But again, like, thanks for your fucking contribution, bro. Thanks for your fucking cliche bullshit. Most people are not burning cars. Most people are doing exactly what the fuck you're saying.
Imagine all the Waymos living for today.
Yeah, you can tell that John Lennon didn't write this, because then there would be a line about punching your wife and not about taking a punch.
That would be a great B-side that we should get some AI to do. So yeah, there's like, so what? 4 cars got burned. That's a crazy good ratio, in my opinion. That's insanely good ratio.
Get those numbers up.
And there is a impressive lucidity to destroying the Waymos. These like ephemeral signs of the Silicon Valley chrome evil rot that exists, like that. It's like, well, these aren't even personal property. This is the property of some freak billionaire that in so many ways has made our lives epistemically worse. And so it is beautiful to see people target those things first. I heard people were calling them in. It would be a good jackass prank to be like, this is driving a Waymo through LA. Like, that would be a great prank.
Well, I also saw a video of someone leaving LA, and there was a fat fleet of Waymos, all a mass exodus. So whoever owns this car company like recalled them all from LA. They're all like fleeing right now.
Calling them back to the mothership. Yeah. Good. Fly away. Go back to your galaxy.
Yeah, and I gotta go back just one last time to this, like, the Mexican flag thing, because I do have a message. Instead of the Mexican flag, you need to do something more American, like an Israeli flag. That would be great if you held an Israeli flag. That one seems to be good. And you have to make sure that you only have American or Israeli flags. You have to make sure that you don't in any way look or appear Mexican, that you're it'd be good if they're like, oh, we like, you know what? You should be burning Mexican flags. That's what they should be doing at the protest. They should be throwing the churros in the trash, burning the Mexican flags. They should be like, oh, we love condoms, and we hate our Sonic backpacks and our Bart Simpson sweatpants. That's what they should be doing. They should be burning their Bart Simpson sweatpants instead, proving they're American, proving they're not Mexican in any way. We got
to bring back the real leaders of our country. Start carrying the Confederate flag. Griffin.
Yes.
What I thought was hilarious about this is, I tweeted this earlier, the same assholes and cousin fuckers who cry when somebody waves a Mexican flag are the same ones who are working day and night to restore the legacy of Robert E. Lee, famous secessionist, treasonous bastard who fought to ensure slavery would exist in his beloved South and was foiled from it. Failed miserably.
Yeah, let's be real here. Like, they're doing this fucking like white supremacist like ethnic cleansing of people here in the country. That is what they're doing. And anyone who's like, oh, you know what, we gotta do this the right way. It's just like with LA, like, isn't the whole point of America to have like a bunch of flags, and that like we are multicultural, and that like we like respect where we came from and where we are now?
The literal fucking fire hydrants in my neighborhood are still painted with the Italian flag, because this was an Italian immigrant community for a long time. Like, the buildings will have Italian flags instead of the exposed brick on the outside. It is throughout all of American history. And now a bunch of Vietnamese families have moved to this neighborhood. So now some of the fire hydrants have the Vietnamese flag on them. It's always, always, always been a part of America to include where you came from, with where you are now and a marriage of those two parts of you. Like think about Italian Americans and how much pride they have. Think about Irish Americans when you think of the East Coast, right? Boston has entire neighborhoods on the north end that are all devoted to Italian people still to this day, right? Same in Southie. It's a very like Irish coded neighborhood. But nobody makes a fuss about it because why? Because they're white.
They
people.
used to about the Irish.
True,
as Soccer once reminded us.
But yeah, I just I love the people that are like just I feel like they've just never been to LA to realize that like the majority of the culture here, it's called Los Angeles. It's called Los Angeles. Like it's all like San Luis Obispo. Like I think it's pathetic, and yeah.
Not only that, like all the fucking beaches, everything, it's all Spanish down there. Like you know what I mean? And
but more to what people say is like, oh my God, images like this are playing right into Trump's hands, because if they didn't put the Mexican flag on the Waymo, Trump would stop. What the fuck? No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't at all. They would keep doing it. They would just keep going. I don't see how this has changed anything about the trajectory of what Stephen Filler and all the other fuckers are doing. Like it wouldn't stop anything.
Well, technically, the protests have stopped them from doing more ICE detentions, right? They came out this weekend and said, hey, because of all of the demonstrations and because of all the people flooding the streets, they were unable to deport as many people as they'd planned. They were unable to black bag as many innocent family members off the street. So if anything, the one takeaway would be to continue to get out there as best as people can, because it is creating disruptions. It is throwing a wrench in Donald Trump's plan, because what he really wants is, and I think to give some credence to the people, I think that are, worried about optics. Obviously, I don't give a fuck if you fly a Mexican flag, and I don't really care about optics personally, but I do think that there is this worry that some people have that might be legitimate, that Donald Trump is just itching for an excuse to declare martial law. And I don't think that there's anything that we can do to stop that and prevent it if he is really determined to do it. But I think a lot of people are just nervous, like, hey, we don't want to step on the bear trap that triggers something that's just going to be catastrophic because this guy knows no restraint.
Yeah, but I mean, like...
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there.